Hey guys, it's Jeff from Pressure Luck, and it is freezing in New York City today. It's hard to believe that just 1 week ago it felt like it was spring into summer weather, and here we are in the frozen tundra. So I need something to warm my soul, to warm my spirit, to warm my bones. So I figured, what better recipe to try than the most amazing chicken noodle soup you'll ever have. My mom's like, Jeffrey, take the chicken noodle soup recipe that you make and put it in the pot, and then I'm gonna get a pot if you do that, if it comes out good. So Ma, this one's for you, and for everybody else out there who loves chicken noodle soup, I'm telling you, look no further, this is it. Okay, there's going to be two phases to this recipe. The first phase is going to be making the stock inside the Instant Pot, and then we're going to make the soup all combined. So we have to start with some chicken, obviously. What's chicken soup without chicken? I went to the supermarket and I had the butcher cut a whole chicken in half and gave me one half of the chicken with the skin still on. The skin and the bones are necessary to make the stock. It's going to be so easy. It's about 1.5 to 2 pounds worth of chicken. This is 2 pounds, 1.5 to 2 pounds are good. I wouldn't go under 2 pounds because you want to have enough chicken meat for the soup, of course, as well. And then I have 8 cups of liquid, or 2 quarts, and that's just water mixed with about a tablespoon of better than bouillon chicken flavor, okay? So first into the pot goes the liquid, like that. That's one. I have a pitcher and a measuring cup because I don't have an 8-cup measuring cup. And all that with the better than bouillon mixed in, and there we have that. And then we're going to put our chicken inside, skin still on, and with the bones, obviously. This is critical to making the stock properly. And just like that. Just make sure the chicken's covered when it's inside the liquid. It's okay to use your hands, just wash them afterwards. We then want to add 1 onion. I used a Spanish, and I cut it into really large chunks because this is actually just going to be used for the stock phase. When it's finished, I'm going to then fish it out with a strainer and just discard it. So into the pot that goes, just like that. 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning, 1/2 teaspoon of lemon pepper, about 1 teaspoon of minced garlic, or about 2 cloves, about 2 to 3 bay leaves, a little bit of black pepper, just like that, and a little bit of kosher salt. Kosher! Not because I'm kosher or anything like that, but just because it tastes better, I think. So just a little bit. Don't put too much in. Remember, you can always put more in afterwards. You can't really go back on the salt. You don't want to overdo it, so just a little bit. We'll taste it more later if we want more. And we're just going to stir all this up in here and make sure all the seasonings just go around and around. And we get everything covered nicely. Okay, we're ready to put the lid on. And make sure we're going to lock it. We're going to put it in sealing position. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on manual, and I'm going to put this on for 10 minutes, and that's it. And that's phase 1 of the recipe, the stock. So it's going to take a few minutes for it to come to pressure, since we have about 8 cups of liquid in there and some chicken and all that jazz. So watch some Netflix, read a book, play with a Nintendo Switch if you just got one, pet your cat, cuddle with your dog, play Jenga with your kids, whatever you want to do. We'll check back in a few minutes. Okay, and we're all set. We're gonna do a quick release. It's starting to smell like Grandma's house. Alright, there we go. That took about 6 minutes of a quick release, and let's open the lid. Fantastic! And as you can see, the top of the pot has all the onions and the bay leaves already on there, so it's going to be super easy for me to just skim it right out. So I'm just going to skim out the onions with a little skimmer, colander, whatever this thing would be called, and just discard all that stuff, just like so. Next, we're going to use some tongs, and we're going to get the chicken out of there. And just put it in a nice bowl so you can just be careful not to touch it, okay? Because it's going to be really hot, and we're going to want it to cool. So just get all the chicken right out, and just put it in another bowl. And make sure any other onions and stuff that are in there, or the bay leaves, are all out of there as well. So we'll do a final skimming in just a second. Okay, so just do one more pass, and make sure we get all of the onions and all the bay leaves out of there. Oh, look at that, another bay leaf. Very, 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 very simple, though. So we're just going to let our chicken rest here and cool while we move on to the next step. Next, I've chopped up carrots and celery, and I've reserved the leafy tops of the celery as well. I have 2 cups of carrots worth and 2 cups of celery worth. Like, basically, after I cut everything, I measured 2 cups of each, and the leafy tops. And I'm going to pour that now into a stock. I got some fresh dill, and I've just plucked some of it like that, and I'm just going to add about that much of it to the stock as well. A half a tablespoon of seasoned salt. Again, start with less, and you can always add more later. It's hard to reverse the other way around. 2 tablespoons of cooking sherry. And 2. And just a few shakes of some parsley flakes in there. You could use fresh parsley if you want as well, but all I had was this already in my apartment, so I figured, waste not, want not, might as well use what you got. This should be fine. Okay, that's all we gotta do. Now we're gonna put the lid right back on. Make sure we're in sealing position, and now this time I'm going to hit manual, and I'm only going to go for 5 minutes. That's it, 5 minutes, and then while this is happening, we're going to do something else. Watch this. Ladies and gentlemen, start your burners. There we go. I'm boiling a pot of water for the egg noodles. Okay, it's kind of important that you do not put the egg noodles inside the pot in the second phase so they cook in there with the soup, because what's going to happen is they're going to absorb a lot of that broth. We don't want that to happen. They're going to expand and become super, like, fluffy, wet noodly things, and you don't want that to happen. It's going to take too much of the soup away. You want to definitely boil it separately, and then we're going to just then put some in a bowl, and then we'll add the soup to it when it's finished. Okay, also while that's cooking, I'm going to now take my chicken, and I'm going to shred it up. It should be cooled a bit by now, so make sure we discard all the skin and the bones. We don't want the skin or the bones, obviously, in the soup. Just a nice shredded chicken. Okay, so I'm just taking the chicken and I'm just literally ripping it by hand. Just make sure it cools a little bit before that so you don't burn your fingers, and it just, you know, shreds apart. It's going to be a nice array of white and dark meat in there, which is exactly how I like it. Of course, if you want just white meat, just, you know, ask the butcher for some chicken breast. Again, make sure the skin is on when you put it in. I'm peeling all of it off right now. And one last thing, make sure your hands are clean when you're doing this. And there's our chicken, a perfect amount, a nice mix of white and dark meat. It's absolutely so tender and so juicy. Ooh, can't wait to add it in there. And now that my water is boiling, I'm just going to add the egg noodle. This is the kind that I like to use. It's kind of like a wide ribbon. I love it. It's like the perfect kind for this soup. Into the pot you go. And that's gonna cook for about 8 minutes. And look at that! It's finished! The pot is finished! So we're gonna do another quick release. I could smell that all day long. All day long. There we go. That also took about 6 minutes. Perfect. So let's take off the lid, moment of truth. Now, is that a chicken soup? Or is that a chicken soup? I've also just drained my noodles, which is perfect. And now we want to add our chicken back to the soup. Oh God, is that beautiful. Just add it right in there. We don't want to have it in there again right before we put it back to pressure, because we don't want to overcook the chicken. So just give it a nice stir so all the chicken gets nice and mixed up with all the soup, and we're done. Let's ladle some into a bowl. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some noodles from the bowl and just put it into my bowl, just like this. This is all the amount that I really want for this. Next thing I'm going to do is, follow me, go over to the soup, and then just take a ladle. Look at that. And then ladle some chicken in there, and some vegetables, some carrots, and some celery, just like that, and then to add the broth in, kind of as like a last step. Get that in there, get in there. And of course, you can taste it yourself to see if you want some more salt in there, but I don't think you're going to want to or need anything else. This is absolutely perfect the way that it is. And there's our soup. Look at that. There is our soup. Let me get a spoon. Let me try it. And I'll get a piece of celery, carrot, and a small little piece of chicken in there, so we get everything at once. I'm not going to burn my mouth. My mom always taught me to blow on the soup before you put it in your mouth. I have a good mom. There's no way you're not gonna have this chicken soup and tell me it's not the best you've ever had. I would swear by it. It is absolutely sensational. It'll make your soul happy. If you have a cough or a cold, just cook this soup. Absolutely beautiful. And the vegetables, the carrots and the celery are the perfect consistency. They're not crunchy, they're not too mushy. Perfection. Oh my god. Have a taste, have a taste, have a taste.